What's up, Lego builders? Welcome back to Coconut Brick Studios for another week of building Coruscant in LEGO. This week, there's going to be building, there's going to be moving, there's going to be organizing, but it's not going to be with LEGO. I got in a new table, and it's time to make Coruscant even longer. But as you guys have probably figured by now, I don't have a whole lot of excess space here for the mock, and so trying to fit a new table means reorganizing an entire half of the room, moving things around, scooting the mock this way, and other stuff that I'm going to go over in this update. But that being said, I do have some actual LEGO building to do. I'm going to be working on the road, clone base, and the Gunship crash site. All that being said, I should have some good out of the norm content for you guys, so don't forget to execute order 66 on that like button, and let's get started. Before I go crazy and move the whole mock around and add another table, I want to do some work on the road. I moved this completed section around a lot for thumbnails and stuff, and as I was going to move it back recently, I decided to add to it some more first. I feel like it's been a while since I did some road building, and I don't want to fall behind on it. Nothing super exciting, but it's a good warm-up for the week. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I like to start a project with something simple and easy to get me excited about the build and get the creative juices flowing. Since I'm over here, I will fix the armory as well. I stole some brick off the back wall for the entertainment complex a while back, and some dark red tile off of the roof and front wall. So I need to repair all that and get the missing portion of the tile frame that the roof sits on reconnected. Plus, this is a nice way to show newer viewers sections of the build they haven't seen yet. Fun fact, this is my first attempt at building a large-scale clone base, and it's inside of an even larger mock that I'm doing for the first time as well. A mock within a mock. A mockception, if you will. Oh boy, this is gonna be a big week, but before we get into the obvious, let's take a quick look at what I did over here. The road's looking pretty good. Like, once you look at the road as a whole, it's hard to see that any progress was made, but by looking right here, you can see that's the chunk I put in, so decent amount of progress. I think it's funny, looking at this road is kind of like looking at the rings of a tree. You can see how much it's growing over time, which is kind of funny. The base looks great. The barracks, the armory has been all fixed up. Really, the only thing I have left to do in here is just tile that off and then add in the smaller accessory builds. Now I want to talk about this nice little plateau I've got right here. So this is basically what I've been talking about and hinting about for the past couple of weeks. I built this on Saturday during the live stream. I didn't know exactly how big I wanted this, and now I know it's probably only going to go to about right here because I still want plenty of room for the stairs, but it's going to be pretty flat. I'm thinking about maybe making some smaller raised sections on top of this, and it's basically just going to hold statues. We'll have rows of statues like that. These plateaus are going to be the perfect place for minifig evacuation sites. I can have gunships and other ships coming down, landing, taking people off. I can have little barracks or little command stations set up. So there's going to be one on this side and one on that side as well. But that's pretty much everything I have for progress updates. It's time to talk tables. I have the new table in here, my storage room / bathroom. And I want to give a huge shout out to Zethius and Joshua Dickinson for leaving a couple of super thanks in last week's update. I really appreciate the donations to help pay for the new table and the extra bricks and plates that are going to go on top. So this is the one that I've been buying previously. Unfortunately, they're out of the blue ones that I usually get. I don't know if they just don't sell them anymore or what, so I had to get this green color, but it's the same kind of pastel style color, and so I think it'll look nice with the blue tables, and I think if once I get a couple more green ones, I can kind of alternate them and create some cool little patterns. I've also got the 4 table legs down here. So here's what's going down next. Obviously, I don't have enough room to put the table on one end or the other, so I think what I'm going to have to do is scoot the whole mock this way about 6 to 12 inches, and that should offset the width of the new table, basically splitting it in half and making the mock, longer by 6 to 12 inches or whatever it is on each side, which, will give me a tiny little bit of room to squeeze through here. It's going to be rough until the mock is finished, unfortunately, but that's what I got to do to be able to give my best effort for this section. Over here on this side, gonna have to do the same thing, probably gonna have to pull some of this stuff out. Basically, there's gonna be a lot of rearranging, but hopefully I should be able to get the table in. Moving the storage bins is going to be the easiest part of this whole process, so I'm going to start with that. I'm not moving them very far either, just to the other side of the room, next to where my UCS Imperial Star Destroyer resides. 。 Now the moment I've been putting off, moving the whole mock and adding the table. I need to scoot each individual table to the right and move the mock along the top of the tables. I'm going to leave myself about a 12-inch gap between the display shelves and tables, which should be enough. So I'm in the middle of moving the mock. You can see I've got it scooted over this way. I barely have enough room to get through right here, but the issue I'm running into is over here, and I was kind of aware that it was going to be an issue, but I just kind of hoped that it wouldn't be. But that is my desk. It's over here in the corner, and here's the new table right here. You can see this green. Can't really see it because of the way it's reflecting the light, but it's going to match pretty nicely with this blue. They're both pretty similar looking pastel colors. The issue is how close the table ends up to the desk. So I'm just going to put it on the floor because it doesn't have legs yet, but you can see that's how much space I'm going to be left with between the desk and the table, the mock. I don't think that's going to work. Obviously, I could just go through and walk that way and come around, but my issue is more aesthetic-wise. I don't want this ugly desk to be in the background of all the Coruscant updates and the finale walkthrough. You know, anytime I'm over here talking about stuff, you're basically going to see this giant messy desk right here. So that's the main issue. I'm thinking about just moving it, but as you can see, my room is already pretty crowded. I'm not sure where exactly it's gonna go, so I guess I'm gonna have to find a new home for the desk. I love these tables. They're light, don't have a seam in the middle, are a great size, and very portable. On the underside, there are pre-drilled holes, and you take a metal dish and stick it over the holes and use screws to secure it to the table. Then you take the legs and screw them into the dishes. They can be unscrewed pretty easily if you want to move or put the table in storage. In short, the mock builder's perfect table. I should at least get a little bit more building done, so I'm going to make some adjustments over at the Gunship crash site. I'm going to take out the tall pieces of wall and add in some smaller ones at the base of the Gunship, as well as sticking a bunch of rubble around the bottom. I'm also going to add some dark tan tile to represent broken up pieces of the floor. This is intense. I definitely underestimated how much extra length this table would add. So for anybody who's wondering, I now have about 5 feet by 10 feet of table space to work with. Almost 10 feet long. It's just absolutely insane. I'm not going to be covering this entire length. I'm actually only going to be adding an extra 32 studs, a bunch of these 32 base plates along the back. But I'm thinking, you know, if I add an extra 20 or so studs right here, that should be plenty of room for this space between the plateau and the walls, and then the stairs and the bank wall. And then that should give me some extra studs as well for the Galactic Senate building. And then if worse comes to worse and I need even more space, you know, I still have room to grow. But I just think if I have this to about right here for the Galactic Senate building, like, I'm golden. It is kind of unfortunate I have to tear all this stuff down and move it right after building it, but honestly, it's not a huge deal since a lot of this stuff was, you know, just a prototype and trying to figure out where everything was going to be and how everything was going to look, so it needed to be taken apart anyways. And plus, if I hadn't done this, I wouldn't have realized I needed a new table. And unfortunately, even though the table is in and this corner is now much more open and available for building, the whole process of reorganizing is still not done. It's still a mess over here. I have no idea where the desk is going. Here's a look at what little building I got done this week besides what I did at the beginning. I think this looks so much better than it did previously. A lot of you guys were of the same mind of me to where having a whole strip of wall running the whole length of this hole just didn't really make sense. You know, if a gunship or something is breaking through the wall this much, it's going to break most of the wall. But I figured there would still be some stuff at the base, you know, piled up and then kind of leaning on it. And then this is kind of what the rubble's going to look like at the bottom. A mix of light bluish gray wall and dark tan floor. It looks so much better and much more realistic. I know there wasn't a ton of building this week, but there was still a lot of good stuff that happened and got done with the mock. Now that this table's in, I can really move forward with confidence in this section and get it done really quick. Now it's time to talk about what's going down next week. Well, I know there wasn't a whole lot of building this week, but I hope you still enjoyed this update. It's not every day you get to see someone turn a mock into a nearly 10 foot by 5 foot project. As far as next week goes, I'm going to be going hard on the building. I want to get that entire front section of the stairs completely laid out, from plateaus, stairs, tunnel, all of it. And once I get the steps in place and I see how far away they are from the bank and the entertainment complex, I need to figure out what's going there, because now I'm going to have a large flat empty space and I want to put in like some park benches, maybe maybe like a stone fountain and some trees and plants to create like a little garden / relaxation area. But that'll do it for this episode. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Don't forget to let me know what you thought about everything down below in the comments, and I'll catch you next time. But until then, happy building.